So, some straight talk. One of the most damaging aspects of conservative modern politics across the pond, both in the UK and in America, and we've seen the spread of right wing conservatism influence conservative politics throughout the Western world and beyond over the past few years. One of the most distressing things is its insistence on the politics of them and us, on the idea that there is an us, perhaps a native us, like the Le Pens in France, that there are the natives and the others, the immigrant others. And so, unsurprisingly, one of the ways that we always see them and us politics is over immigration. And that's exactly what we saw prior to Brexit, an insistence that there's something that happened in the late 1700s that needs to be made great again, Britain's independence, and again in MAGA. I find the politics of them and us distressing because it is also based on the politics of fear. And so in Social Intelligence, the New Science of Human Relationships by Daniel Goleman, who of course brought us emotional intelligence and the word EQ, the concept that there was an emotional economy, he writes, "We confront the challenges of living in a global civilization with a brain that primarily attaches us to our home tribe, our native tribe. As a psychiatrist who grew up amid the ethnic turmoil of Cyprus put it, groups that are so much alike move from us to them via the narcissism of minor differences, seizing on small features that set the groups apart while ignoring their vast human similarities. Once the others are set at a psychological distance, that you see them on the other side as a psychological distance, this is important, they can become the target for hostility. It's like when we relate to someone as one of them, we close off our altruistic impulses. Take, for example, a series of experiments in which volunteers were asked if they would be willing to get an electrical shock in place of someone else. The catch? They could not see the potential victim, but simply heard a description of him or her. The more unlike themselves the other person was described as being, the more one of them, the more unwilling they were to come to their rescue. Just by simply being different, people were unwilling to express our altruistic nature. And so he goes on to say that the gulf that divides us from them builds with the silencing of empathy, and across that gulf we are free to project onto them whatever we like. Righteousness, intelligence, integrity, humanity, and victory are all prerogatives of us, while wickedness, stupidity, hypocrisy, and ultimate defeat belong to them. I say that this is a real problem in conservative politics today because just look at any of the issues of the culture wars that have gone on. We talked about immigration. There's some scary immigrant population that's going to take over our resources, our land, or more even still, the Sharia scare that they're going to erode our European, Eurocentric culture. Ultimately, is what it is, and so they start to build up what is us versus them, and oftentimes we only see the us and them in terms of the finger pointing, who is them, and we rarely interrogate who becomes us. And in my estimation, the more that you rally around that tribalism, the narrower the box of us becomes, and the more, as he mentions here, you work at eroding empathy. That's dangerous when you erode empathy, because then as you go on, you see all kinds of social and physical and emotional violence enacted upon them. Just look at the Chinese flu, as President Trump said. So once you label even a disease, and it's common to, medicalize to say that the other is somehow also filthy and diseased, like what was done with COVID, like what was done with tuberculosis, poor people like in Moulin Rouge, or the others have it. It's brought by the Chinese. And so this politics of them and us we see creep up over and over and over. And so it is distressing to see that it is here where we are today.